When you're learning a new language, let's be honest, speaking is what it's all about, right? It's often the ultimate goal. But how do you actually teach someone to speak effectively? We're going to dive right into the modern methods that help turn learners into confident speakers.
Okay, so every single speaking lesson is basically a balancing act between two big goals. On one side, you've got fluency. That's all about speaking smoothly, naturally, and just getting your message across. On the other side, you've got accuracy. Using the right grammar, the right words, the right pronunciation. The entire history of teaching speaking has been a story of the pendulum swinging back and forth between these two.
And that tension, well, it's led to a really fascinating evolution in how we teach. We've moved away from those old, rigid, repetitive drills and towards something much more dynamic, much more about real dialogue.
For a long time, the focus was almost entirely on accuracy. The main approach was something called the audiolingual method. The thinking went like this. Language is just a set of habits. So the teacher would say a perfect sentence, and students would just drill it again and again and again. The whole goal was to memorize patterns and, above all, to avoid making any mistakes.
But then, something really cool happened. We saw this huge shift to what's called communicative language teaching, or CLT. And this was a total revolution. Suddenly, the main goal wasn't perfect grammar anymore. It was successful communication. Could you make yourself understood? Could you actually accomplish something using the language? This approach doesn't throw accuracy out the window, but it sees it as a tool for a much bigger purpose.
And all this points to a new target. The new holy grail, really. Developing what's called communicative competence. This is so much bigger than just grammar. It means knowing what to say, who to say it to, and when to say it. It's not just about knowing the rules of the game, it's about knowing how to actually play the game in real life.
Okay, so that brings up a huge question. If doing drills over and over isn't the answer, then what is? How do we get students to practice this stuff in a classroom? Well, the key is to design tasks that feel like real-life communication.
The answer is a whole toolbox of different activities. A lot of these are built around a really powerful idea called an information gap. Think about it. You have one piece of the puzzle and your partner has another. You have to talk to each other to solve it. It's the same with role plays or debates or trying to solve a problem as a group. All of these give students a real reason to talk and, just as importantly, to listen.
And this quote really just nails it. In real life, we speak because we have a purpose, right? We need to ask for something, solve a problem, or share an idea. A great classroom task does the exact same thing. It's not just talking for the sake of talking, it's talking to get something done.
Let's walk through a more advanced task, like giving a presentation. A good process isn't just about standing up and talking. First, you plan. Then you rehearse, maybe with a partner. Next, you get feedback, super important, from your peers and the teacher. And then, here's the crucial part. You use that feedback to reflect and revise. It's this whole cycle that really builds both skills and confidence.
This process of building skills makes total sense, but it does bring up a really important question. With all this focus on real-world communication, how on earth do you test it? For students who need to prove their skills for a university or a job, how do you measure speaking in a way that's fair and standardized? And for a lot of people, the answer to that question is the IELTS exam. Because it's used all over the world for things like university admissions and immigration, its speaking test gives us a super clear picture of what's expected of an advanced speaker. It's not just some random test. For millions of people, it's a real gateway.
So if you peek under the hood at how they score you, you'll see it's a perfect blend of everything we've been talking about. First, fluency and coherence. Basically, can you speak smoothly and connect your ideas in a logical way? Then there's lexical resource, which is just a fancy way of saying your range of vocabulary. Grammatical range and accuracy is pretty straightforward. And finally, pronunciation. Can people understand you clearly? It's the whole package.
Okay, so let's pull all of these threads together. What are the big takeaways here? What are the guiding principles that any teacher, or hey, even a motivated learner, should keep in mind when working on speaking skills?
At the end of the day, it really boils down to a few key things. Get students talking to each other as much as possible. Give them tasks where they have to work together to understand each other. Teach them actual strategies they can use when things get tough. And always be mindful of that balance between speaking smoothly and speaking correctly. Now, there's a fancy term for what happens in those tasks. It's called negotiation of meaning. But honestly, it's something you do all the time without even thinking about it. It's when you say, sorry, what was that? Or, so, are you saying that? It's that back and forth that we all use to make sure we're on the same page. Teaching learners how to do this is absolutely crucial.
And this means we have to explicitly teach these, call them survival skills. Let students know it's totally okay to use fillers like and well to buy some thinking time. Teach them how to rephrase an idea when they can't think of the exact word. Show them it's fine to ask for help or even use gestures. These aren't signs of weakness, they're the tools of a really competent communicator.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a world where English is a global language, spoken by way more non-native speakers than native ones, what should the goal even be for pronunciation? Is it to sound exactly like someone from London or New York? Or is it simply to be clear and easy to understand for anyone anywhere? What does it truly mean to sound proficient today?